As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lined in chalk. I really hate the trip, but I gotta low. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like, on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light. Been spending most of their lives living in the gangsters paradise. We've been spending most of their lives living in the gangsters paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangsters.
All right, it's Saturday, October 1st. 2022. You're listening to Jared and Mike Tell It Right podcast. How's it going, Jared?
I have to say, being the first day of October, it's like the worst thing ever. Like, I didn't realize how much people freak out about Halloween, and like they wait till the first day of October and then they freak out. Like, a lot of people are like that. Like, I don't get like everybody's love of fall. Like,
Nobody
it's really
loves it. It's they're all brainwashed. They're all fucked. I mean, I agree with you. And no, seriously, like Halloween, it's not even a real holiday, really. I mean, like, why do we celebrate it? Oh, because the fucking Mexicans have a Day of the Dead, which actually has more meaning to it because they pay respects to the people that have died in their life. Where we're like, boo, boo, boo. Trick or treat. Give me all your fucking candy. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to egg your fucking house, you cocksucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and then you have like, once you can't collect candy anymore, then it just becomes a reason to dress like a slut.
You know what else I hate, though? All right. So this whole month is October, right? And obviously Halloween is at the last day of the month. But like all these like schools and kids program, and I'm sure you've dealt with it a little bit with your kid, the fucking trick or trunk or whatever it's called, or
trunk or treat.
Yeah, that bullshit. Like, oh, this whole like, oh yeah, this like, I don't know, this like secure and fucking safe way of passing out candy to all the kids and shit. And it's like, there's, I don't know, it's like, I don't know. I worked at a place and there was this woman that like, it seemed like the whole month of October, every weekend they were doing a trunk or treat. And I'm like, why? Like, teacher, like, and she just complained about her kids being fucking crazy too. And it's like, well, because you do things like this. You just keep fucking doing trunk or treat.
You shelter them.
You don't teach any fucking discipline, and they drive you fucking nuts because they think, oh yeah, every month, every fucking weekend's let's get candy out of someone's trunk.
Which is probably even worse than teaching them to get it from like a house and go from house to house on Halloween.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you
run over and get candy from this person's trunk.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, I mean, like, you kind of like teaching some kind of social skills, like cold calling, you know?
Get
your kid ready for cold calling sales, doing trick or treating around the neighborhood. But when you do the trunk or treat, it's like, you know, it's like you have a whole marketing team that brings in the calls for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
but no, I mean, it's people freak out about this month. Like, and I didn't realize it until more recently, but like I had to decorate today. And that is like, there's 3 things that I hate in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're in order of Jell-O, people, the general public, and decorating.
Yeah.
So I just despise it. There's nothing more that I hate than just wasting my day putting stuff in my yard for people to look at. And I don't even enjoy it. Like when I pull up to my house, like I don't even leave my house anymore.
See, here for me, it's Halloween. It's about demons and ghosts and the dead and all that shit. Like, I don't have any business celebrating that. Like, hey man, my lost ones in the world, hey, I love you guys. I pay respect to you in a different way through my head, you know. But I don't need to put like fucking, you know, shit on my lawn, you know, to like celebrate that. But here's the thing, like when it comes to Christmas, I'm more willing to do that because I fucking love Christmas.
I don't like Christmas at all.
See,
I think
like I don't even care about the presents. I don't want a fucking present. I like the lights. I like the lights. That's all I like. I like the lights. I mean, look what I have behind me. I have a green, a blue, and a fucking purple one here. You know, and then a regular one, so it doesn't look like it's a raven here. But I love lights. I love colored lights.
I love lamp.
I love lamp. You know.
Yeah.
So for me, Christmas, I'm willing to get up on my roof, put the lights on there, and keep them up till March.
Because you don't feel like getting up there when it's freezing cold to take them down.
It's not that it's freezing cold. I'm just scared shitless because there's still snow on my roof, and I'm afraid I'm gonna slip and fall.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't turn them on every night, you're still good. You know, to take them down pretty much.
I'll probably
whenever.
turn them on every day till like Valentine's Day, and then after Valentine's Day, I'm done.
I mean, I think you're good to like, what is it, January 6th at least for an excuse, because that's like All King's Day or something.
Not this guy. This guy is till like March 31st, and then they come down.
St. Patrick's Day, baby, we're lighting them up.
They're pretty much coming down a week before Christmas, and then being put back up that same week.
You're really just checking the lights and then putting them back.
Yeah.
Making sure that all of them are.
I've considered that actually. I've considered like, hey, just leave them up here. I don't have to turn them on. No one's gonna see anything really. And but at the same time, like during the day when they drive by, they're like, why is that asshole still have his lights up?
Yeah, see, I just can't. I hate the pressure of Christmas. Like, it's always become like, especially when you're with somebody, it's whose house are we going to? Who are we visiting? Or you have to make like your rounds to places.
And is it
like
Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it's Die Hard a Christmas movie, and then you like have to deal with people and like relatives and all this and that, and it's like it's just annoying. Remember, general public is right up there with decorating, so not the family is general public, but you know, just people in general. Like, you know, I'd rather just sit at home and watch like a Christmas movie like Die Hard or
Die Hard, yeah,
or like The Grinch or you know, something stupid.
Gremlins.
Like, yeah, Gremlins.
Die Hard. Probably Con Air's in there, wasn't that?
Yeah, Con Air.
No, I don't think Con Air was on Christmas.
Put the bunny back in the box.
I got the whole world in my hand.
It was Steve Buscemi.
You know, that was the best because he did come out on top at the end of that movie.
Oh yeah,
fucking Vegas playing craps like right at the end. Like they all thought he died, and he just he just walked away.
Yeah,
that crazy motherfucker walked away, and then had another like character change.
Yeah,
like, with himself. Like schizophrenia made him a normal person.
Steve Buscemi, the ugliest actor ever, yet people loved him. Like I don't dislike Steve Buscemi for his ugliness. It gives me hope, you know, that like, hey, this man's pretty ugly. He's a pretty good actor.
Fell off the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way
He's
down.
not good. But
but he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's actually a really nice guy too. He was a firefighter in New York during 9/11 and everything.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, you learn something every day on the Jared and Mike Tell It Right podcast, people.
Yeah, he was like one of the houses that responded, firehouses. Yeah, Steve Buscemi.
You can't send Steve up there. Yeah, fucking crazy.
Right.
No, it turns out
he's too ugly. Don't send him. He'll scare people.
It turns out like he's like the best firefighter that's ever existed. And it's like a shame he doesn't play in firefighter movies. He should have played in the movie with what's his face? The dude banging Kim Kardashian's butt.
That one asshole.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
He should have been in that movie. Like, yeah. So instead of Bill Burr, it should have been fucking Steve Buscemi.
I don't know. I love Bill Burr.
Oh my god, I'm actually an idiot. I think Steve Buscemi actually played in it. Now I think about it, I think he was the
You're King of Staten Island, right? Is what you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
I think Steve Buscemi was the top. I'll look it up here right now.
You thought it was Dan Aykroyd.
No, Dan Aykroyd didn't play in it, or maybe he did, but I don't
Mm.
think he played the role I'm thinking of. Kings of Staten Island,
King of Staten Island.
whatever.
I do like Bill Burr though. Bill Burr
Yeah,
is
Bill
good.
Burr he's badass for sure.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
There's a lot of random people that were like in the
did.
service.
He was
Did he?
Papa.
There you go.
Well, I'm an idiot. Like,
There you go.
hey,
That's
yeah,
why.
let's have Steve Buscemi play it. He should have played in this movie. You idiot. He did play in that movie.
Damn it, Mike.
Yeah, damn.
Get with the program.
Yeah.
There's like other people that you wouldn't think that were in the service, like or like in any kind of like public servant or like in the military, like the guy that plays Kylo Ren, what's his name?
I forget, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the Marines.
No shit.
Yeah, and that the one guy Ron something, he's in Step Brothers. He's like pow 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 pow.
Oh yeah.
He was a Marine too.
Drew Carey was a Marine. He was a drill
Yeah, Drew
sergeant,
Carey.
actually.
Yeah, like all these random people that are actors that would be
Drew
like
Carey fucking yelling at you to do push-ups.
right. And now he's hosts The Price is Right.
I bet you, like, he saw Starship Troopers and he's like, fuck Clancy. I could have done a better job than Clancy.
Yeah,
Like, the real military, I did a lot worse than Clancy did.
right.
Fucking broke a guy's dick. I don't know. But
Give him the people's elbow.
wait, there's this movie with Roddy Piper that I saw like clips on TikTok. I can't, it's like they're there or something, or they're here. And I didn't even realize that Vince McMahon got these guys like back in the fucking early 80s in these movies. Like, so Roddy Piper plays this guy that wears these special sunglasses that can see these weird aliens that have invaded the country or the world. And he goes nuts, and they show a scene where he's at a bank he's got a shotgun and just shells like on a sash all over him. And he's just like yelling out crazy shit like, I know, like, some of you don't belong here and blah, 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 and I'm going to fucking kill all of you or something. I don't know. It was crazy, but I'm like, that's definitely a Jared Mike Teller, right? Review right there.
Goes along with our Buckaroo Banzai.
It's pretty fucking close to Buckaroo Banzai, which hopefully we will discuss next week, but
with a special guest.
yeah, with our special guest. We'll announce it here. We got Michelle Pfeiffer coming on the show next week.
Yeah, we got Fife Dog.
We got Michelle Pfeiffer, Selena Kyle coming on this show here.
We'll see how that turns out.
Tell all your friends, tell everybody, share this episode with everybody so they know that Michelle Pfeiffer will be on this show.
Right. Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yes. Hide your kids, hide your wife, because Michelle Pfeiffer is coming on the show next week. Yeah. Talk about Buckaroo, Bonanzai, Donzai, something in the eighth dimension. Traveling the eighth dimension or some shit. It's just a classic 80s movie with Michelle Pfeiffer. So
she's not in it though.
No, she's not in it, but she's definitely going to comment on it. So make sure you mark your calendars or you follow, because there's no set time and date with this show at all.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you when this is going to happen.
Yeah, so you just got to follow so you get the notification that Michelle Pfeiffer is on the show. And believe me, that notification will say Michelle Pfeiffer is on the show.
Yes.
I will make sure of it.
It's even spelled the same way. It's exactly how you'd expect it.
I mean, because it's the person. So.
Yeah.
You just gotta pay attention for the next show.
Yeah.
That's That's all we gotta say. But Jared, what
Yeah.
about Coolio?
Oh man,
We fucking lost a great one here.
we did. That was
Yeah.
pretty unexpected because he was like what 59,
Yeah. Cardiac
which I
arrest.
didn't even think that he was that old. But
I was like,
shit.
when I was reading, there was some people were suspicious. Like they had to rule out foul play. I don't know if that's what you always do, you know, with like an investigation, but like the articles were like, yeah, foul play was ruled out. He died of cardiac arrest. And it's just
Yeah.
like, it's just kind of weird to say because he obviously was somebody, you know, that was in the gang world. And I mean, obviously, probably in his life now or before he
Yeah.
died, I'm sure he's been, you know, twice removed from that world and is now in a different world. But like people are thinking that maybe somebody did kill him, and it's just not true. He died of natural causes, unfortunately.
He died of cocaine.
Oh yeah.
He didn't have cardiac arrest at 59 years old. I mean, I guess
Well,
it could
no,
happen, but
I mean, you
bad genes or something. 'Cause-
maybe you like this KFC. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh,
No, but you know
you
what
should have
was-
had Popeyes. Should have had Popeyes.
Yeah, well, you know
Less
what was-
greasy.
yeah. You know what was actually very interesting though is there's this couple I follow on TikTok. The channel's called the Blonde Brewer. And so it's this husband and wife. They're a young couple and they do all this humorous, you know, couples humor shit. That's basically their gimmick on TikTok. So basically the husband will always come up to the wife and say something like,
Can you throw this away?
Why? We might use it later.
No, we won't. I'll just turn the lights off.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
it's borderline like rude and shit. And he'll be like,
Mhm.
you know,
Here.
What's this?
You've been so cranky lately, I figured you've been losing blood.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
it's like that humor you'll say to your wife or your significant other when you're in the kitchen or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're just such a fucking asshole," you know.
Like, what's the difference between you and my glasses?
Yeah.
And then
something
she's like, and then she'll be like, what? And you're like, my glasses don't sit as high on my face or something.
yeah, something like that. He'll say shit like that, and then what he'll do is because he has the phone on his wife while he's asking her the question, and then he flips the phone around like this, and all of a sudden Gangsters Paradise plays, and he walks away from her, and then she always picks something up and throws it at him.
Yeah.
So like they did a lot of these, and they still do them. But they actually got Coolio's attention, and like they got to meet him, and they did TikToks with him and shit, which was really pretty cool. And man, I'd kind of like to be like them, man. Like, you know, you got to meet like an awesome rapper, you know, like you wouldn't have known the movie Dangerous Minds if it wasn't for Coolio. I mean, like Dangerous Minds and that song go together. Like,
Yeah.
you hear that song again, you think of Michelle Pfeiffer, who we're gonna have on the show next week.
Yeah. She was in.
She was in Dangerous Minds, and
Yes.
yeah. Fuck, we
Well-
should have talked about this next week.
Well,
But
we
anyway-
can get her. Well, we'll get her feedback on it.
Yeah, we'll get her feedback on it. We'll get
Yeah.
we'll get the Five Dogs feedback on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just that's pretty cool that, you know, they kind of came up with that idea, you know, to play those little jokes. And then just like it, like what I love about it is that fucking swipe around, and then all of a sudden Gangsters Paradise starts playing, and he walks away like a badass, but then his wife fucking clocks him and puts him back into place. So no, that had to have been an awesome experience to be able to do that. And I know they're pretty sad about it too. They've been posting TikToks about it. So but yeah, Coolio, age 59, cardiac arrest.
It's rough.
He's like Leon Ivan something. I forget his. Hold on,
Leon.
I got his real name right here.
There's nothing Coolio about his real name.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was Artiste Leon Ivy Jr. Coolio.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear about Artiste? No. Who's Artiste?
Like, you kind of think to yourself though, like, how did he get Coolio? Like, his name's not Julio.
No.
He must have knew a guy named Julio and was like, I just put a C in there and be a Coolio. I always wanted to know too, because so in the Blonde Brewer's recent TikToks with him, he was wearing a hat and he still had the fucking, the dreads
the
popping out.
antennas. Yeah.
And so I was wondering if those were fake or not, but there's some pictures that show his bald head down the center, but he still has hair right here, and he still does it. Or
Interesting.
did it? Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
I don't know either. But
Poor Coolio.
hey, Coolio, rest in peace, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. And yeah. But Jared, Andor.
Ooh, that's good.
Andor, baby. So let's not get too much in the weeds in this.
Okay.
I think we should do it. I think we should do a pretty deep episode once it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And just kind of go through it all from start to finish. But
yeah,
bro, that shit is hot right now.
Yeah.
Those first 3 episodes, oh man. It's a new world.
That 4th episode, you said you didn't like it, but that 4th episode had just a lot of underlying shit going on.
Right. And I'm actually starting to see it now. So I guess I probably spoke a little too soon on that and didn't really give it. I don't think I gave that last episode too much of a deep analysis. I just kind of took it for face value and was like, no, this is just a setup for something that's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
But it really was giving you some kind of clues and
yeah. And so all the Easter eggs of the stuff in that museum.
Yes, that's what I wanted. All that stuff. That's what I wanted to bring up today. I saw a TikTok on that actually today, and pointing that out, and I again, like I didn't notice that when I saw that. That was pretty cool. So what things did you see in there?
So there's just 2 major ones that I saw. One is a Mandalorian's armor.
Yes.
That's one. And then the second one, if you don't realize, is the Star Killer's armor. And Star Killer is was a Sith guy that went around killing people, and like his armor was like bonded to his body or something.
Yeah.
But you see his like helmet and everything hanging in like right up against the wall when they go around the corner to like go talk in secret.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So there is actually 3 other things that you missed in there because those 2 things were brought up in the TikTok I saw.
Yeah.
So the first thing that was pointed out was when he starts walking to go say hi to this lady, you actually see a Gungan shield.
Really?
From episode 1.
Yeah.
So he has a Gungan shield. Actually, there's probably 4 other things now that I'm thinking about it. So the Gungan shield, there was a Sith and a Jedi holocron.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So you mentioned the Mandalorian and then the Star Killer uniform. So I don't know if you remember from Rebels, when the green lady with the tentacles on her head, starts playing with some toy, and it's like a T shape. It's got it's weird. Apparently that's in there too.
Okay.
So and then there's another reference from Rebels, and I don't know how this can really be missed, but it's like a piece of something that was on a stone mural in the movie or in Rebels, and it's like a piece of it, and there were I don't know. They showed a picture of it from Rebels, and it, it's kind of like, unless you're that really nerdy about it, you're
Yeah, you'd
probably
never
not
get
gonna
it.
catch that. Yeah, but you would
Yeah.
definitely catch the other things we mentioned. You know, but yeah. So apparently, there's a lot of Rebels references to it,
Mhm.
and then just yeah, from some of the well, then you got a video game, which is Starkiller, and
Yeah.
then you got that first episode 1,
Yeah.
the Gungan shield.
It's pretty crazy. I, they're doing a much better job with this, I think, than Obi-Wan.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was thinking that you know what? Obi-Wan, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, those were kind of like, I don't want to call them tests, because I think
Mhm.
they all are still good in their own way. But obviously we've picked up some things that we didn't like. Like Boba Fett kind of dragged on.
Mhm.
Mandalorian, there's not a whole lot to say wrong with that, but um there were some things,
Yeah.
but whatever. It's still badass. It's still good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, but yeah, when you watch Andor, you kind of feel like they took all those shows that they put out so far, and they really took notes on what we did wrong, what we did right, and then are bringing it together.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they don't try to do no Luke Skywalker CGI shit,
Yeah.
anymore, which I doubt they will, because he's just not part of Rogue One. He's just not in that yet.
Yeah.
What
No,
would be? Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say the only thing, I mean, with this, it is only 2 seasons. So I mean, really what we're getting is just a really extended movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And like, it actually
that's
has
all
the
they
movie.
are.
The cinematography though of this really feels like a movie,
Mhm.
and it feels better. Right? It's like
Yeah.
this feels different. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we look at Mandalorian, and it's like the spaghetti western. All this and that, and like you get that feel from it, but you like it, right? Like I love that part of Mandalorian. That's what makes it enjoyable.
Right.
But this is not that. They've taken all the good stuff, right? What they should be doing, and they've made this, but like it's dark. It's the cinematography is better. It's not like a TV show. It's like a movie, and just like the way that they're telling the story. Yeah, they went back just like Boba Fett. They were like they told his backstory, but they did it quick. They did it simple,
Right.
and it fit in. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, let's, it fit his character.
Yeah, like getting back to that, because like they did flashbacks, and that was one thing I noticed, was like I felt like these flashbacks they made sense.
Yeah.
And where Obi-Wan, they really hit those flashbacks a lot, and then like they would just pop up with a different character, and you're kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Like the transition wasn't clear. You know what I mean? Like you're expecting to come back to like Obi-Wan, maybe Vader, but then all of a sudden it's like fucking Reva.
Yeah.
And like you're just kind of like,
I said that the problem with Obi-Wan is they took too long to develop the character when we already know who the character is.
yeah,
We don't need that. We don't need a new story. The
Right.
whole Reva thing and all this and that. And that's what, kind of ruined it. It was like they had to develop this new character, and it took away from the whole plot of Obi-Wan.
right.
We wanted to know what he was doing. We were not cutting meat. Like, we don't need to
That
see
was
that.
ridiculous. That
Like,
meat scene.
they- And again, that was
something-
character development. Oh, we have to see that he's a normal guy now. Like, we get it. Like, where's the chase and how do we cut to it?
I feel like the meat scene could have been different. Like it should have been Obi-Wan sticking up for that guy. That's
Yeah.
what it should have led to. Or led to him getting caught to where he had to leave Tatooine or something.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting out of it. And then all of a sudden it really had nothing to do with anything.
Well, I think what they were trying to show is that he wasn't helping people anymore. He was that
Yeah.
recluse that
Well,
he's not standing up for anybody.
And that's the thing. They didn't need to repeat that so
No.
fucking often to prove that. All they had to do that was once and then show that scene where he doesn't help the guy. And then we get it. You no longer feel the values of a Jedi because it's done,
Yeah.
But yeah, Andor though, it's really so far it's proven to be like this new type of Star Wars.
Mhm.
And yeah, getting back to the Rogue One and really expanding on that and showing that underworld.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're actually starting to see like Coruscant in the underworld, because didn't that dude go back to Coruscant?
Yeah, his mom was living there.
She
'Cause
slaps the fuck out of him. And
Yeah.
oh yeah, come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like, yeah, he landed on the top and then he took an elevator that literally went a fucking miles
All the way down. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took days.
You started seeing the light, the light started changing and then it just got real dim.
Yeah.
And it's like sunlight still gets through there, but it's very, very dim.
Yeah.
And so yeah, check it out. Disney Plus. Fucking Andor, baby. But yeah. We're not talking about Andor here though today, are we?
No.
We're talking about something far greater. No, actually, I'm not gonna say it's far greater. It's good.
It's
good.
there. It's there.
It exists. It's not that much greater, but no. So you're all probably listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, these assholes just talk about fucking Marvel movies and Star Wars and shit. No, we got something completely different for you guys here today. And that is Lifeguard, 1971, starring Mr. Sam Elliott, everybody. The fucking man.
He's the Marlboro Man.
Was he?
Yeah.
Good for him. Getting some of that big tobacco money.
Yeah, but you really have to be a badass to be a Marlboro Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's Sam Elliott.
It is.
He probably never smoked in his life. And yet he has the voice of a smoker. They're like, you sound like somebody that smokes. Let's put you as the Marlboro Man.
Sam, have you ever had a cigarette? Nope. You want to sell cigarettes? Yep.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Lifeguard, 1971, directed by a guy named Daniel Petrie. I don't know what the fuck he's ever done, but he made this movie and it was pretty good. But yeah, starring Sam Elliott as a guy named Rick Carson. Rick Carson. So Sam Elliott, if you're not aware, he's kind of famous for movies like Tombstone, Roadhouse. If you watch Netflix, The Ranch, which I can't watch The Ranch because I want to live in Colorado. And every time I hear that song in the beginning, mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Yeah.
It depresses me. It's like, I live in the wrong spot. I need to live where Sam Elliott lives in Colorado.
Do you think you could ride a horse and be a cowboy though?
I think I could. Oh yeah. But yeah. I could.
Have you ever ridden a horse?
Yeah, I've ridden a horse.
It's awful.
Oh, hell yeah. It is, but I kind of have fun doing it.
It's the worst
you know
thing.
what? It's the worst thing because you can't make them fucking go fast and shit because they're all trained and you don't do the right things and then again the lead horse, unless that fucker's going batshit crazy, the rest of them aren't. So it really there's not a such thing as horse riding anymore unless you're from Scottsdale, Arizona, and you're 60 years old right now, because that's all you did growing up before Scottsdale became Scottsdale.
So actually, and from what I know, she still does it. Growing up, I had this girlfriend in high school, and she did eventing with horses where you jump over the sticks and the fences and stuff.
She was an equestrian.
Yes, yeah. So
she was a chud.
Yeah, chud. The chuds.
The chud.
So I was around horses like all the time, and I had to like pick their hooves and like wash it down after like did the eventing, and like I had to actually take care of horses. It was like,
No way.
oh yeah, because I was like with her, and I'd
Bitch
like
had you
go and
whipped.
watch her, do all this stuff. Well, I mean, she was helping with me and stuff, but it's just
Yeah.
like the faster it got done, the quicker we could leave and go not be doing that. So
Hey, Jared, let's do some nail trimmings on the horses
No,
today.
that's like for the professionals. You don't do that.
You ever
But
see that on TikTok?
Yeah,
It's crazy, dude.
insane. Trimming the
like-
hooves.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, how do you know you're not fucking hurting these assholes? But they're not, I guess. They're just
No,
fucking
I mean
trimming the
it's like
shit
a
out of it.
toenail. It's like you've got a really long toenail.
Yeah, but sometimes if you hit those too short, they fucking hurt.
Well, yeah, that messes shit up. But yeah, no, like horses were weird. I mean, I was always around them. So,
Yeah.
but I hate riding. Like, there's nothing worse than having no control over what's going to happen. Because and those motherfuckers will kick
You're
you
just not
off.
you're just not a cowboy, man. No, you can't
Yeah.
be like that. If you're a cowboy, no, you get on that horse and you're like,
But
I
that's
own you.
different because like you have your horse. You know what I mean? Like you've grown and you've like developed, like
I'm
trained
glad
that horse
you're
like a
at it.
dog. Like it's like a dog. Like you have your
Yeah.
dog. Like if another dog's around you, yeah, you could probably tell them no and yes in this, but you really don't have control over that dog. Your own dog, you do.
Well, I don't know. This
For the
is
most part.
control over my dogs, but that's another story.
Anyways, Sam Elliott, the
Sam
Marlboro
Elliott.
Man.
Last thing though, I wanted to point out my favorite movie, The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Like he played the greatest role in that because I loved it at the end where he just like tells the story of the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Like I wish I knew that by heart, but like he's just like, oh, the Big Lebowski, like
Yeah.
just going on and on about like how like he makes him sound like he's like a fucking deputized sheriff that's like fighting
Yeah.
crime in LA. But at the same time, no, it has nothing to do with that. He's just like this dude that just exists and fucking has a great time. Like, dude, the dude is like the best character out there. It's just like he's not a bad guy, but he's like I don't know. I think he's a good guy. Like I wanted to say like he's not a bad guy, but he's not a good guy. But
He's
not
an idiot in a lot of cases.
in a lot of cases, yeah. But like, yeah, he's just not a bad guy though. He just like fucking lives his life.
I think his ignorance is what is like his superpower. Like
Yeah.
by not knowing stuff, people like feel sorry for him, or he just like slips by. He's like, but dude, like my rug, man.
rug.
That's like all he cared about was a stupid rug.
Mr. Lebowski, do you have any employment? Employment? I forget what the line was, but
Yeah.
something like that. But that's Sam Elliott playing Rick Carson, the main character, the protagonist of this movie. Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. We also got Ann Archer. I don't know who the hell she is, but she's played in she's the ex-girlfriend that Rick ends up finding out that she's divorced and wants to, rekindle things and try to get back together. So Ann Archer's Kathy. She sells paintings. That's what she does in the movie. Has a 5-year-old son, but Ann Archer played in Fatal Attraction in 1987. She played in Patriot Games. She played Harrison Ford's wife. So she was a Ryan in that movie because those movies are Jack Ryan, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's Tom Clancy, right? Tom Clancy.
Yeah,
that's
Clancy.
It's Tom Clancy story there. Fatal Attraction.
Jack Ryan, all that.
Or
bullshit.
no, Patriot Games. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a Jack Ryan movie. And then she played
Jack
in some
Reacher.
movie. Yeah. And then she played in some movie called Shortcuts. I definitely never saw that.
Not Short Circuit.
No, none of these
95 is a lie.
we gotta find that movie. It's not streaming right now. When it does, we will review it. Because that's kind of the point of what we do here. Like we want to pick movies that are streaming so you guys can actually watch them and not like from our DVD collections that nobody has, or something like that.
Listen,
So,
I have a
Jared-
large assortment of Blu-rays that I've collected over the years.
Jared has every movie ever known to man. I have none. I depend on streaming, and so do the rest of you. So fuck off.
No, I literally have all action movies. Like, I'm going to take a picture of the movies I have and send it to you. You're going to
And
be
the one
like,
right in the middle will be the next action hero. It's
Yeah. I love
Arnold
that
in
movie, Last Action Hero.
I just don't like the character though. The little kid that plays.
Yeah,
him.
he's an asshole, but like I like that movie because it's stupid.
I think he's the same kid that plays in Real Geniuses too, and I don't like that guy either. But whatever, it's another episode. All right, so we got Ian Archer. She's the fucking ex-girlfriend that he wants to bang again.
Yeah.
Then we got Stephen Young, which is another guy that, because I don't watch movies from back before 1970. He is most famous for so Stephen Young is Larry. He's the guy that sells Porsches. I think he says he owns the Porsche dealership, but I don't know. But yeah, he runs into Rick and he tells him like, hey, yeah, I didn't do acting. I'm now selling Porsches. I make a lot of money. He's like, hey, if you ever want, if you're interested, here's my card. Give me a call. We'll set something up, So that's Larry. So Stephen Young, he played in a movie called Soylent Green.
Soylent Green.
Have you seen that?
Soylent Green is people. It's like where they make people into food because like there's a whatever you call it, a famine.
So it's the evolution of what's the movie where South Park made fun of, where they sewed everybody's mouths to asses and
Human Centipede.
Yeah, it's basically like Human Centipede. Okay. Yeah, he played in that movie. He played in Patton. I mean, I've heard of that movie. I've never actually seen that.
Yeah.
Probably fucking boring too.
Yeah, it's not.
Maybe we'll give it a shot and we'll review it, but maybe not. I don't
Probably
know.
not.
Probably not. It's George Patton. He was just a tank commander. Everybody loves him. I don't know. There's probably better people than him. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe.
Then there was Silent Partner, which is another movie we've probably never seen. That's 1978.
Sounds terrible.
The most recent movie that I actually looked to see that he's done was a movie called Charlie Bartlett in 2007. Sounds like an independent film.
Yeah.
Sounds like something we haven't.
Well, I mean, the guy's got to be old by now, so.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. Well, they don't show a recent picture of him.
Yeah.
So he's probably fucked up right now. It's probably Brendan Fraser-ing it out.
Fuck.
As I see it.
BFing us.
So yeah, there's Larry. And then we got Chris. The lifeguard hand. That was by Parker Stevenson. He's like known for this movie Probe. In 88. I've never heard of it. But Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew Mysteries. He was big into TV, really, this guy.
Nancy Drew Mysteries.
Yeah, he was actually a star of that. When I was looking this guy up, he's actually on the cover for this. So he was like a main character in the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys fucking thing.
Really?
Yeah. And then he did Baywatch, actually. He was on Baywatch. He was like a main star on Baywatch. So
well, I mean, he was in a Lifeguard movie.
They're like, "Oh, dude, that was you in Lifeguard? Oh yeah, we can make a character out of you, bro."
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the guy Chris. Actually, then the last person, she's actually, so I didn't think this was anybody, but she is actually somebody. So the last person is Kathleen Quinlan, and she played Wendy. So Wendy was a 17-year-old that started getting the hots for Sam Elliott or Rick.
Yeah.
And it started kind of creating that weird vibe. So I was looking her up. So some movies she did was American Graffiti. So she was part of George Lucas on his
I
first.
love that movie.
Yeah. So she was she's in American Graffiti. She did the Doors movie in 91. Did this movie called Breakdown in 97. But she was actually in Apollo 13, and she was Tom Hanks's wife, Marilyn Lovell.
When they're watching the TV and
Yeah.
yeah.
When I saw that, I had to actually jump back onto the movie and like look at her. And there were some scenes where I could see it, but like she's so young that it's like they're different people.
Yeah.
And especially like the way her hair was in Lifeguard compared to Apollo 13, it was yeah, like she totally looks like a different person. And obviously she was older in Apollo 13 being in the 90s.
The funny part of it is what Apollo 13 was what year?
95.
No. When the Apollo 13 actually
it
launched.
was 69 or was
Something,
it? Yeah, I
maybe
thought 1969. I thought we landed on the moon.
Yeah, something like that. Well, so it would have been like after that.
Yeah.
So, but the movie she made was 1971 with, for the Lifeguard. So it's like she was probably that age making Lifeguard when Apollo 13 happened.
Yes.
And then plays in Apollo 13. You know what I mean? Which is like,
so I believe she was like 23 playing a 17-year-old. Yeah, she was in her 20s when they landed on the moon. Fucking A, man. If that was even real. I mean, apparently you got information that.
I mean, we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. That's exactly right. I just want to know where the rockets go, Jared. Where do the rockets go?
The world will never know.
World will never know. Everyone's sitting there like, what the fuck are they talking about? You don't need to know.
Apollo 13 was 1970.
That's when they. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. When we landed on the moon, it was the year before.
69. Yeah. With
Apollo
Lance Armstrong and.
So they were filming this movie while Apollo 13 was having their issues. In other words. So
yeah. And then so she made a movie.
Yeah.
During Apollo 13, and then played in a movie of Apollo 13.
Right.
It's kind of a weird coincidence.
But here's the thing, Jared. Everyone's probably wondering, like, all right, what's this movie about? You keep talking about the characters. You have no fucking idea what's going on. So just to give you guys a summary. So Lifeguard, 1970, 71, whatever year you want to call it. It's basically, it takes place on a Los Angeles beach in Los Angeles, California in the 70s. The story follows a full-time lifeguard, Rick Carson, played by Sam Elliott, who is in his 30s as a lifeguard. And we're assuming he's been doing this since his teens. We're just assuming. They don't really clearly say it. But now in his 30s, he's starting to realize he's getting older. And he's starting to wonder who he should be in life. And if he should be a lifeguard anymore. Or if he should start looking into like a more serious job or a more serious role.
Well, I mean, let's think of this.
Yeah.
Is being in your 30s really like out of your prime at that point? I mean, nowadays, people are probably in their prime until like maybe 45, 50.
Well, I think with this movie, so yeah, I think what ends up happening is he's trying to figure out if being a lifeguard like is like a sleazy role, and if he should actually be like a more respectable role, like a salesman or something. And so Sam Elliott is trying to really figure out who he is. He's getting older. He's trying to figure out, like, does he want to be a lifeguard, or does he want to be a more, does he want to, or should he be in a different role? Should he be into sales? Should he, do something besides this like summertime gig where, it's kind of a kid's job, but I guess what we learned through the movie is like, I guess, so let's start from the beginning. So the movie starts, you see Sam Elliott walking on the beach, and, it's kind of one of those like taking in, like, this is mine,
Mhm.
sort of thing. And like, you can tell he's friendly with all the people. He knows all the people because he sees them every day, like the joggers and the people tanning and whatever. And so that's like the kind of the first scene. Then he gets to his shack, and he's it comes off he's a very disciplined and habitual person. So like
Yeah.
he opens up his shack. He tests everything, like to test the phone to make sure the phone works. So in case like he does have to go out in the water, because you do find out like the rule is you take the phone off the hook, that alerts somebody to come drive out to give you backup because you ran out there. So like you find out like he knows his job really well. He's good at his job. He makes people happy at his job. People trust him,
Mhm.
and then on top of it, he's given a responsibility to train a summer hand, in lifeguarding. So like I look at it as like that first scene, first part of the movie is really like highlighting like that Rick is really good at his job. He um yeah, he's really good at his job, but he's also like in touch, and like I don't know if it's in touch, but it's more like he's a good looking dude, and he gets all the girls too at the same time. So he's like this cool Uncle Rico looking dude at the beach, but then at the same time, like he knows his job. He's disciplined at it. And when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, if somebody needs help, everything goes out the window, and he is boom, I'm gonna save your life.
Yeah.
So
He
um
drives a sweet car.
yes, he does drive a sweet car. He does. What is that? A Corvette?
I think so.
Like a Stingray?
I don't remember.
I think it's
Honestly.
no, I think it's a
Corvette
Stingray.
Stingray.
Yeah, it's a
It's like, well, it's
Corvette
probably like
Stingray.
a 70s Corvette would be
Yeah.
Stingray.
So, but yeah, that's kind of like the first part of the movie where they introduce him. They introduce Chris. And they
The
kind of
summer hand. Yeah.
yeah, they show him. They show Rick, this guy that has control of his beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really the part where he meets Larry is where I started seeing the change in who Rick really was.
Yeah.
Because Larry is this guy Rick went to high school with and was like, this guy was supposed to be an actor, he was gonna do some big things. But when they run into each other, it turns out acting didn't work out, but he somehow got his hands on a Porsche dealership. And I'm pretty sure he said the words that he owns it, but like it doesn't come off like he does. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that was just the way they shot it and that fucked it up, but I'm pretty sure like he says he runs the Porsche dealership. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But like, yeah, he basically offered Rick, hey, you want to get out of this, this lifeguard thing? Give me a call. Here's my card, and hopefully I'll see you at the high school reunion coming up.
Yeah.
So
Like, because the high school reunion was like the peak of people's life. Like, oh, I gotta be Mr. Badass for my high school reunion. So, like,
well,
oh,
if
what do
you
you do?
remember,
I'm a lifeguard.
well, if you remember, he wasn't gonna go,
Yeah.
but I think he found out about. I can't remember now. Can't remember if he found out about the ex-girlfriend from him, and then made him decide to go anyways, or if it was just the fact that that dude was going to be at the family or the high school reunion, and like he just wanted to move, try to do something different, because then like, so all right, so in the beginning, all that they introduced Rick. You find out Wendy is this 17-year-old girl that has a crush on him because she kind of comes around because she needs first aid. She just needs like a band-aid or something. And from there, that kind of starts this like attraction, and she just kind of keeps coming around, trying to get his attention. Um, but yeah, and then obviously Larry offers this, but like towards the middle, what starts happening is he goes he meets up with his parents. His parents start giving him a hard time about what he does for a living. So he's starting to question like who he is, you know.
Yeah.
At the same time, he's got some 17-year-old girl that wants to fuck the shit out of him. And
isn't that everybody's dream?
I guess that's Rick's dream. You know. But like
I mean, who can resist that mustache though?
Right.
I mean,
like,
that's that 70s dick broom. Like
but that's what ends up happening. Like she stalks him and shit, and he ends up sleeping with her. And I think that's what did it for him when he actually had that one night stand with her, is he started feeling scummy about himself, because after it happened, he started getting dressed and he was kind of being short with her, and like not short, but like he wasn't, you could tell he didn't really want anything to do with her. Like he just did it, and he's just kind of like, all right, cool, we did it. See you later. You know?
Yeah.
And so as that kind of keeps going on, he ends up going to the high school reunion, and he meets up with the ex-girlfriend. So right after he bangs the younger girl, he meets the ex-girlfriend, and then they rekindle. And now all of a sudden his life's starting to go on track. So now Larry's going to get him the interview over at Porsche, and Kathy is going to start seeing him again. And so they kind of start. So basically now he's starting to grow up, I guess you can say. He's now with a stable relationship with the woman, but she has a kid, and that's working out because he's a great influence on the kid, and kid loves him, and you know, whatever.
It's so cheesy though. I mean,
it
like,
is, but this is like a Goodwill Hunting of the time. This is a love story, you know.
It's like, okay, how much money does a lifeguard make? Like
back then it was like 10 grand. And then like sell Porsches, you're gonna make 20 grand a year.
So you're just doubling your income.
Yeah.
But like, oh well, I guess 20 grand in 1970 was a lot, but
yeah, I guess. Apparently, I mean, but if 20 grand was a lot in 1970, then 10 grand was, you were making do, you're making buy. But I don't know. He starts banging this bitch, falls in love, right? But but Wendy keeps coming after him, and like, so it was after the competition, he's like dying because he starts realizing too, like he's not the young buck he was back in the day, right? And so he goes through this competition, and he's like literally dying at the end because he's just used all of his energy to do this. He's like throwing up on the sand. But yeah, she comes along, and she's been his like cheerleader the whole competition and stuff, and she's like telling him shit like, hey, yeah, I'm planning on telling my parents, the next thing so I can come over. And he's just like pushing her off, like, yeah, I don't know about that, all this shit. And like, but yeah, it kind of gives her the cold shoulder right there, because he's still in a point where he realizes he did something wrong, and he's trying to get away from it. You know what I mean? So he's trying to be with Kathy because he thinks he loves her, and he's trying to push this girl away because she's just way too young for him, and he can get in a lot of trouble for this shit. Even back then in the 70s, people were worried about this shit. Actually, it seems like people are less worried about it now and just fucking do it and are just getting caught.
So just to put this piece of information $20,000 in 1970 is the equivalent of $152,000 right now.
Holy fuck.
So that means 10 grand was like 75 grand a year. This guy's like
I could have been a
70
lifeguard in the 70s and made do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I mean, making in the 70, plus $1,000 range right now is like an average salary, or
No
I shouldn't say,
wondering he passed the fucking job down at the end. Because, oh my God. Wow. It's just crazy. No, like inflation and all that shit. It's just like,
yeah, they say the cumulative price increase of 663.33% with a 3.99% per year increase in that time period.
Jesus.
So over the 52 years, yeah, that equates to that much of a difference. So if in 1970, if you were making 10 grand, you were making the average of about a 75 grand a year.
We still make less than that. We're not even fucking lifeguards. I would like to know what a lifeguard's salary nowadays is. Like, fucking $75,000 a year.
Right, I'm going to be a lifeguard if that. Well, no,
And
right?
it's a
I'm in my
seasonal
30s.
job. $75,000 a year for fucking 3 months out of the whole year.
Yeah, right. So then that means he's making 75 grand in 3 months.
Well, no, if you
No,
watch,
in
in the movie, he mentions that he likes the winters. So, like, obviously, he still has to be out there during the winter time.
yeah, because in California, there's not really a winter time.
Well, yeah,
There's winter, but
there-
it's not. There's still people on the beach.
not really. They're probably on the beach. They're not really in the water. And at that time of the year, in the winter time, you got to be in a wetsuit. Because the water's still cold, or the water starts getting cold, or whatever. But
Lifeguard
so
salary
it's California. It doesn't fucking matter. It's still warm.
currently in California, the median salary for a lifeguard is $16.99 an hour. Topping out for the head of lifeguards are $22.14 an hour.
Well, make more
So
than
apparently
that.
it's gone down. So they're
Yeah.
averaging $46,000 a year.
That's not the respectable.
That's for the top level.
That's
for a
not the
senior-
respectable job.
Yeah,
that we
senior
all
and
thought it
mid
was.
level. Yeah, senior and mid level are 35 grand.
How do you survive in California? Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
I feel like if you want to live in California, you need to at least be making 100 grand a year, because
Something like that. And that's not even getting you anything. Like they buy houses in California that are the same size as my house, and it's $1 million.
Right.
And I'm like, my house is like worth like 100 grand.
no, you're right. Yeah, it's a different world out there. But
Anyway,
yeah, but anyways, so
lifeguards.
this fucking movie. So yeah, so Rick, he meets the girl. They're back together. And all he's really got thinking on his mind is he's, he wants to do better,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people getting in his head that, like his parents and whatnot, and Larry, like that he can do better, that what he's doing right now, it just isn't anything. But after your math, he's actually doing really fucking fine in life. So
Right.
fuck all those other people that think they know what the hell they're talking about, because they don't.
That's what I was saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the hell is doing better than him? Like for the job that he's doing.
But after all that, like, so Rick goes through some shit. Like, so he's had a couple instances with Wendy. So one time he tells her off, and basically he did it nice too, but he was just like, we need to go our own ways. But she got all upset, and then she tried killing herself by swimming out in the water, right?
Yeah.
So Rick had to go save her. And at that point, like, after finding out, like, she just wanted to end her life and she didn't care, they had another talk, and that's where they had a reasoning. And then she drove off and everything was fine.
Until she drove off of a bridge.
Right. As far as we know, everything was fine.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting is because then he goes and he meets Kathy, his ex-girlfriend that he's now dating again.
Yeah.
She's at work and he tells her the story about he's so upset about what happened with Wendy. And then she tries to change the subject and then she offers to have him move in. And he's kind of thrown back by it. And like, you could tell he's frustrated. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to think about this. He feels like he needs to have an answer. And then this customer is just like, Kathy, I need your help. Come on, Kathy. And he just like freaks the fuck out on this dude.
Yeah.
Tells him to go fuck off. And he's like, why don't you go buy that one? It matches your suit. You know? And the guy walks out. But like it was a weird, awkward scene at the end because like it was weird because he then apologizes and then he's like, is the offer still on the table? And she said yes. And then he's like, well, is it all right if we sleep on it? Which was weird, you know? Like,
yeah.
So I'm getting the feeling at the end here that like he doesn't even want to be with Kathy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of getting out of this. And then you see that he wakes, that the next scene after that is he's literally at the shack in his civilian clothes.
Yeah.
Just chilling. And Chris walks up and he's like, oh, you pulling in some OT? You know, he's like, fuck you, kid. You know, and he's like, no, he didn't say that, but he's like, but Chris is like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing. And like, so he shakes it off right there. So like, I didn't get a whole lot out of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what's the point? You know? But after that, it just seems like Rick starts coming back to his normal, like he's focused on being a lifeguard again. And everything's just, the routine is all happening again. So everything you saw from the beginning is kind of starting over again. He's just chilling with Chris, tells Chris, go home. It's your last day, bro. Get out of here. And then everything's kind of fine until Larry shows up. And that's where you start seeing Rick is back into being a lifeguard again. Like,
yeah.
You don't quite know what he wants to do in the future yet, but at that point, he's kind of showing like his dedication to the job. And now Larry's trying to talk to him at this point too, like about, hey, I got the opening's going to start sooner than we thought. You know, can I get you to start sooner? And Rick's just ignoring him.
Yeah.
And Rick's doing his job, ends up running out there, tells Larry, hey, take it off the phone hook. You know, Larry's like, all right, whatever. And just kind of sitting there like amazed, like that this dude, I'm giving this guy a job and this guy's not showing me any interest right now.
He could have made 150 grand a year
in 70s terms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. And at the end, Rick finally comes back and he tells him, no, I love my job. I got great hours. The working conditions are ideal. He's like, I love the people, you know, and just basically tells this dude like, nah, I'm going to keep doing this until they tell me I can't, you know?
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, that lady comes back that originally, or no, it wasn't that lady. A different lady comes back saying there's a dude in the, the bathrooms or whatever. And it just kind of like, it's bringing back like the whole scene where the guy was walking around with his willy out, or his dick out, just showing everybody and shit. Like, even though he had Chris try to handle that and Chris couldn't, he ended up coming back being like, I couldn't do it, bro. And he's like, what? And but like, it kind of brought it back. Like, that's what Rick does. This is every day. He saves people. He keeps people safe. And then when you have these assholes that are, doing this weird shit, he fucking comes back and he checks them in line. And so then that pretty much ends the movie. I mean, so Rick, starts off as a competent lifeguard, starts questioning his life and if he should be a lifeguard. And, if he if he's meant to just continue life, just fucking sleeping around with women, or if he should like settle down and all this. But at the end, it comes back like his life is on the beach, you know?
Yeah.
So so that's the movie. All right. So here's my thing at the end. All right. So I thought it was a good movie,
Hmm.
but I'm just confused on what's happening with Kathy and Wendy because it sounds like he's going to spend the rest of his life with Kathy.
Yeah.
But even though he had, like, so even after that blow up, like she said, the offer's still on the table. So it's like, okay, that's still there. But then he's all depressed the next morning in front of the shack. All right. Like he stayed up all night contemplating life, and you don't really know much more like of what he's thinking, but literally he sat there after he told Kathy, hey, let's sleep on this.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think that in the end, Rick decided to be the lifeguard, but he's also holding out for Wendy. And that actually, after Larry came and he decided I'm a lifeguard, like I feel like that set the precedence that Kathy's done, that Kathy was just a dream, that it
Yeah.
really wasn't him. And that's what he wanted or what he thought he wanted, but it's not. They don't really clearly explain that. I mean, he also wait, because like you feel like he's gonna be with Kathy because of the way he reacts with Wendy,
Yeah.
and then he sends her off and she drives off in her car. But then like with Kathy, it just doesn't sound like after he freaks out and then he says, "Oh, let's sleep on this." It just sounds like he's not interested in that relationship anymore. So,
Well, maybe it's not so much that. Maybe he had the turning point where he realized that, like, yes, his life is good and he can have both worlds. Like, he doesn't have to be a Porsche guy
right.
to have the woman that he wants and have the life that he wants to have.
I thought of
So,
that
like, maybe
too.
that's, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's maybe he did stay with Kathy or whatever, but that was
Right.
his turning point. He was in deep thought in his regular clothes on the beach, being in his natural habitat, you know, to
Yeah.
clear his mind. And I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's just where I'm at the end. I think it's a good story. I think
Mhm.
it's a good old Hollywood classic. All right. Like when I mean
Yeah.
Hollywood classic, like we were talking about this before with Matt Damon and how like Hollywood's changed. They don't just
Matt Damon.
they don't just make movies anymore. They literally are making movies that they believe people are going to watch, when before it's not that they didn't think people would watch them. They just knew they didn't have the audience
Yeah.
like some other movies did, but they also relied on the VHS or DVD sales afterwards to recoup what they didn't make in a box office.
Yeah.
You don't see movies like this as much because movies that are being made nowadays have to go onto streaming services. And so you got to make your money at the box office, in other words, because the streaming services aren't going to bring that revenue that like DVDs or VHSs did.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about this. This is one of those good old Hollywood stories that it has a little love story mixed into it, but I mean, it's Sam Elliott. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you be upset, right?
You can't. And if you are, you're probably gay.
Yeah, you probably are.
It's I could be mad at the Marlboro Man.
What you what you think like about the music in the movie? I mean, it totally vibed. It's like that 70s.
So I mean,
80s.
this classic 70s. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't like the best music ever. It's not like going to have a soundtrack that you're like, I'm going to go buy that soundtrack, you know, like
Yeah, I
Top
bought the
Gun or something.
Lifeguard 1971 soundtrack this week. I am
Right.
jamming out.
Right. Like nobody's like, no. Like it's not like Guardians of the Galaxy or something where it's like that's like a killer soundtrack.
That,
You know what I
that
mean?
is the only soundtrack that anybody should have ever wanted to buy in their life.
I don't know. The Jurassic Park soundtrack isn't bad. The soundtrack to what's it called? What's that movie with the blue people?
Blue Man Group?
No, not even Blue Man Group.
Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar. The soundtrack to Avatar and Titanic.
Jared buys the Blue Man Group soundtrack.
Yeah.
There's a new one that comes out every year.
Is it really? Do people
No.
actually still go and see Blue Man Group?
Yeah, well, Blue Man Group is so. I used to always think it was like the same thing all the time. When I went to the Blue Man Group for the first time, I actually asked that question. I'm like, "Oh, do you guys do the same thing over and over? And then like, are these the same people?" And they explained there was like over so many different Blue Men. Like, so like that's when I learned like they do this everywhere in the like there are a couple different cities in the country, and
Yeah.
they got quite a few people that do this. But like when you see it on TV, they all look the same. Like it looks like it's the same guy that did it 20 years ago that's doing it today.
Yeah.
So they're really good about that.
They probably make tons of money. It's like a pyramid scheme.
Got it.
Do you want to join the Blue Man Group? You can be in this city. Tell your friends.
Yeah, man, I got a real good opportunity. I just signed on with the Blue Man Group.
Right.
I'm gonna be a Blue Man.
I'm gonna make $10,000 a year.
Mike, have you ever drummed in your life? No, but they
Right.
said that's not a requirement at all.
Right. I have major experience drumming on my steering wheel while I'm driving. I've got years of experience doing that. And I have a PhD in air guitar.
Yes. I'm going to put sound in it. They're just gonna put.
You gotta
sound.
play it. You gotta play it high up. 'Cause if you play it low, you can't do air guitar like low, or even air bass. But you have to do it like high up here.
Yeah, for sure.
Where people
remember
can
I
see you
worked-
twiddling your fingers.
I remember I worked with a group of people, and the one guy was like, "Oh yeah, Nick over here, he's a fucking air guitar pig. He's like, he goes up on the stage and he blows the fucking people away." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then like that dude's like, "Dude, don't listen to him. I don't know what the fuck he's saying." But
I want to get really good at that Guitar Hero game. Just like blow people out of the water. Like be ridiculous at Guitar Hero, where I'm just like one of those like crazy people.
I
Like,
want
don't
to
even
like I want to promote events where people just play you in Guitar Hero. Like, don't play Jared in Guitar Hero.
I've never played
3
guitar. I mean, I
hours.
think I've played Guitar Hero like
3
once
hours
in my
fun.
life.
And I think the only song I ever played was "Sweet Child of Mine."
I mean, isn't that the only song you should play
Yeah.
in Guitar Hero?
Dude, when Slash plays that song, it's like that's badass. He just like
Yeah.
it's like second nature to that motherfucker, dude. It's like he's not even thinking. He's just like he's thinking of titties while he's playing that, and it's just coming out as just art. And he's just
I mean, anybody that
knows-
wears a top hat and sunglasses, I mean, whatever they're going to play is
Like,
probably going to be pretty
what's-
badass.
You know what's badass about Slash? Not only does he play that on an electric guitar, but then he gets on an acoustic and he still fucking whips it out.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn. And then he sits there and is like, can't play every song on acoustic, but I guess this song can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jared, let's give this movie a rating. We're running out of time here. Actually, we ran out of time, but that's fine.
That's fine. We haven't done a good podcast in a while.
Jared and Mike tell it right night.
Right. I mean, I'm going to have to say probably 6 or 7-ish. I mean,
Let's
it's a
see that.
good, it's a like classic movie. If you should watch it. I mean, it's not a bad movie,
Oh no, not at all.
right? It's got Sam
no.
Elliott, so that gives
This
it
is-
plus points.
Personally, I think the family should watch this. Like I don't think it's. I
You
mean, yeah,
you see
you know what?
boobs. There's
We
nudity.
did talk about that. Yeah,
The
there was
boobies.
there's two times they show boobs, and Amazon in their little trivia thing when you're watching this movie, they try to tell you that there was only boobs once in the movie, but that's a lie.
Yeah.
They have their info wrong, because the first scene is with so we find out that Sam Elliott's like a fucking womanizer, because literally like one of the first scenes is him banging a bitch that's a stewardess, a
Yeah.
flight stewardess.
Yeah.
And I actually found out, here's another little Easter egg. So Tina is the character, and that was played by, I have the name written down here. It was played by Sharon Clark. So Sharon Clark back in the day during that time period was actually Playboy Playmate of the time. So he bangs her first, and you never see her again. But you see her boobs because she runs out of the shower, or the whole shower scene too. I mean, you see him in there. She runs out. She jumps on the bed. And they make love, right?
Yeah.
And then the next scene is when Machine Gun, the perverted like high schooler, him and all of his boys, yeah, they start circling this girl like they're like a fucking pack of sharks or something.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like in the water, like circling her. Huge wave comes that knocks her down, and they all jump on her just out of nowhere and steal her bra or her top, because she was a model taking pictures on the beach. But yeah, like they stole her top and then they ran off. And then that was the second time you saw boobies in that movie. So, you know, I mean, like, it's tasteful boobies in my mind. Like, it's definitely family boobies. Like,
you got to see him.
You can sit there with your family and watch that and be like, guys, that's how they did things in the 70s, you know? So that, I mean, that's where I'm at. Like,
yeah.
And that's another point of this podcast is, you know, us that grew up in the 90s, that's what we did on the weekends. We watched movies with our parents, right? We rented movies. We sat
got a
there,
pizza.
Yeah,
went to Blockbuster.
Right. You picked out your movies, you know. It was like a whole family ordeal. And we don't do that anymore because we got streaming. We got like Disney Plus, we got Netflix, we got it all. And nobody needs to sit in the same room anymore because they all got cell phones and tablets and crap and computers, and everybody would just watch their movies on their own. But you know, we want to try to bring up movies that are going to bring the families back together. That's our goal.
We're a family podcast.
We're not a family podcast, guys. Guys, no, Jared's right. We're not a family podcast.
No, we are a family podcast. You have your whole family listen to us.
No. Let's clarify this.
Grandma, come listen to this podcast. We're gonna look at some titties.
Oh no. We're fucked. No, okay. We're not a family podcast, all right. But we encourage the people listening to this to listen to our show, hear our fucked up shit, and then be like, "That's a good movie. I'm gonna watch that with my family." That's all we want. We want to entertain you while you're driving to work, while you're away from your family, but then we want to give you the idea, like, that would be cool to do with my family. Watch some movies and Sam Elliott.
We're gonna go smoke a pack of Marlboro Reds.
Yeah. I'm gonna go smoke a pack of Marlboro Reds. Make my kids smoke a pack of Marlboro Reds, and then we'll watch Sam Elliott, some boobies.
So what is your rating of this movie?
I'm right with you. It's a 6. Here's what I'm gonna say. This is probably a better movie in this time period because a lot of movies back then were still in studios. A lot of them were being shot in studios behind backdrops, you know. So like, you could have had a beach movie back in the day that just had a backdrop and they poured a bunch of sand in a fucking sound stage, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was fake. But this was real. I mean, you could tell they were on location for most of it. So it's like one of those like it's an old movie, but it kind of has like the new movie vibes because as movies got newer, technology got better, they were able to go on location more. You know what I mean? And they didn't need to have a controlled setting necessarily. So that's what I kind of liked about it. It wasn't like that. You know, there's plenty of movies, I'm sure, from back in those days that were just in a sound studio. And it looked fake, you know, but you still liked it, whatever. But like this movie, it felt real, you know, it felt live action, you know, it didn't feel like it was on a stage. And I'll give it that. But you know, it is from the 70s. I don't connect with it too much. You know what I mean? Like, I look at Sam Elliott and I look at myself and, well, he's a way better looking dude than I am at that age. So, and he was actually, you know what? Actually, let's be fair here. Sam Elliott was only 28 in that movie playing a 35-year-old. So,
because he's got the skin of a old leather burlap sack. Like just he's like
still like, to me he looked like he was a 40-year-old in like today's world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's like a dusty old catcher's mitt. Like
son of a bitch, bro. I mean, yeah, 6. I'm gonna give it a 6, but it's definitely a watch. I mean, like, you gotta watch it. Like, it's a good movie. Yeah, I would do it. I mean, I did it like 3 times this week, actually. So
exactly.
It was that good. But yeah, so where you guys can watch this movie is Amazon Prime. It is available on there. No commercials. And yeah. Lifeguard,
Watch it.
1971.
Sam Elliott.
Watch it, everybody. And and then again, if you're like, well, Sam Elliott, just remember Wendy played in Apollo 13. She was Marion Lovell, and that movie made me cry at the end. Apollo 13, not Lifeguard. I didn't cry at it.
You cried at Lifeguard.
Like Apollo 13, definitely tear up at the end because you're like in your head, you're like, they shouldn't have made it, but they did, and it's just it's awesome that they made it. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, guys, so that is our show for today. Lifeguard 1971. Check it out. Like we said, Amazon Prime.
Do it. Watch it with the family.
Next week, we definitely plan on having Michelle Pfeiffer on the show. So stay tuned. Tell your friends. Tell everybody.
Yeah.
Even tell your moms.
Yeah. Tell your mom.
Tell your mom.
Baby.
Tell your mom. Tell your mom's mom. No, tell everybody. Seriously. Don't just keep it to the moms. We want everybody. Okay. So we'll do that. We're gonna talk about Buckaroo Bonanza. Is it
Buckaroo.
Is it
No,
Bonanza or
it's
is
bonsai.
it bonsai? Like
It's
a bonsai
bonsai.
plant.
Yeah. Buckaroo Bonsai.
What's his deal? Like, let's just kind of go over that real quick. He's like half Japanese, half American.
Yeah, his mom was like Japanese or something, or dad or somebody, and half American. And he's like,
are there Japanese people with the last name Bonsai?
probably not. It's probably extremely just
Racist.
racist. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that next time. But yeah, it was a lovely night we had tonight.
Indeed.
I liked it. And guys, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.
Deuces.
Magic sights, exciting sounds, come day or night and feel around. This is a world for you. No matter where you've ever been, this is the place your life begins. Boob world, boob world. It's a world for you, but it's actually two. Boob world.